Having identified and categorized different issues in the issue register, it is now time to move into analyzing those issues. One technique for analyzing issues is called root cause analysis. The idea of root cause analysis is to find out what are the underpinning causes of an issue. These causes are called, in general terms, factors. There are several techniques for root cause analysis. We are going to see two simple ones. One of them is why diagrams, which in a way walk us back from an issue to the factors that cause or contribute to the occurrence of this issue. And the other one is a bit more forward-looking, is cause-effect diagram. Still, given an issue, we try to find out more in a forward manner what factors could be causing it, using certain classification of factors. Let's start with why diagrams. The idea of why diagrams is to conduct, in the context of a brainstorming session, an analysis of an issue by using the question why in a repeated way. So we start the session by postulating the issue, and we ask yourself, why does it happen? And there can be one or more factors behind it, and we document them. Then we take each of these factors recursively, and we try to find out if there are certain factors that actually cause it, and we continue doing that. The folklore has it that we need to do about 5 levels of nesting, meaning 5 whys in a row, to actually find the underpinning root cause. Let's take the issue that the site engineers keep equipment longer than needed, which is a waste that we identified in waste analysis in the context of our equipment rental process. We can then start the session by asking us, why is it that site engineers are keeping equipment longer than needed? And the answer might be because site engineers fears that the equipment will not be available later when needed. For example, there is a bulldozer in one part of the construction site, and the site engineer fears that if they let that bulldozer go out back to the supplier and they need it a few days later, it will not be back on time, and that will delay the construction schedule, and therefore they just keep it longer than actually needed. We are not going to stop there. Why is it that the site engineer is fearing this? Because it's well founded. The site engineer knows by experience that the time between them making a request for an equipment and the delivery is quite variable and sometimes too long, and that will cause some disruption in the construction. So then we can ask ourselves, but why is it that it takes so much time to take delivery of an equipment? And if we start going step by step in the process, we will see that there are some handovers, in particular from the site engineer to the clerk engineer, that spends time finding a suitable equipment. But perhaps more importantly, there is a handover from the clerk to the works engineer, which causes an additional waiting time while the works engineer becomes available to be able to approve that plant. Therefore, that gives us what we can consider the root causes of this issue, which is that the time that the clerk spends contacting multiple different suppliers and checking for availability, plus the time that we wait for the works engineer to check requests, are root causes for the fact that the site engineer is keeping the equipment longer than needed. And as you can see, it's not necessarily that evident. We wouldn't have come with this root cause right away if the problem had been posed in that way. The second technique for root cause analysis that we are going to see is called the cause-effect diagram, also known as fishbone diagrams because of their characteristic shape. The fishbone diagram is a framework based on some classification of different factors that typically contribute to issues or incidents in the general case. One such classification of factors that may cause a given issue are called the 6 M's. That includes machine, material, measurement, method, man, and milieu. What we do in the context of a brainstorming session based on a cause-effect diagram is that we take the issue and we try to see if there are some primary, meaning direct, factors that contribute to that issue along each of these categories. Once we have identified some primary factors, we proceed a bit like in YY diagrams, meaning that we try to find secondary factors along the same dimension that can contribute to that issue.